Ever wonder how applications and software you use today stay secure? The truth is, they don't. Today, let's talk about Trend ZDI. Welcome, Dustin.
Well, hello, Mila. Thank you for having me on.
No, thank you. Let's start with the basic. What exactly does Trend ZDI do in the market?
Sure. So, the Zero Day Initiative is the world's largest vendor agnostic bug bounty program. And let me start by defining a couple of those terms because most people don't understand what that means. A bug bounty is where a company will go out and pay security researchers to show them weaknesses in their software and services. So, rather than having to find it in the wild after customers have already been impacted, they financially incentivize researchers to tell them ahead of time. The vendor agnostic part is what really makes us unique. While other companies will buy bugs in their own products, we buy bugs in our products and Microsoft and Apple and Google and Cisco and Dell and well, pretty much just about everything. So we have a wide view of the threat intelligence of anything that's out there.
Okay, I'd like to zoom in a little bit into what exactly do we do as a group and what bigger problem are we solving in the industry?
Sure. So we don't buy bugs just because we like to. I mean, we do like buying bugs. It's neat to find the stuff, but we don't have an unlimited budget. We just can't go out and buy everything. So we have to show something for it. So what we do is once we purchase those bugs, we do report them to the vendor to get resolved, but we also use the threat intelligence to build filters and protections for our customers ahead of time. So usually it's about 3 months our customers are protected before the vendor releases a patch. So that's 3 months of protection. And then when the vendor does release a patch, of course, you don't patch immediately, no matter how much you should. But you're still protected as that patch gets tested and deployed throughout your enterprise. So that's really what we're doing is we're resolving these bugs and we're protecting our customers before and after the patch from this vulnerability.
Let me bring out the elephant in the room, the what's in it for us kind of concept. One of the questions that we often get is why do we have to pay researchers for finding something that might or probably have gone wrong already?
Well, really, we pay researchers to augment the research that ZDI is already doing. A lot of our researchers are finding bugs as well. In fact, almost 50% of our bugs come internally. And the work that external researchers do is important. And we need it financially incentivizing them to report things to us rather than taking it to a criminal marketplace or an exploit broker where it would get used in the wild and cause real damage. It just gives them an extra impotence to come to us and to work with us to make sure that that bug gets resolved before it gets exploited.
And one of the interesting facts is that when we look at it on a grand scale, sometimes you would step back and think, how does one program, like the bounty program, we've done a couple of fun to own, how this program can actually fix a vulnerability, but also make a big difference in the industry from a grand scale of things?
Well, we've been at this for 20 years now. So we've patched over 16,000 bugs in that time. So we definitely have a grand scale that we've worked with. And last year, I think about 20% of the Adobe bugs came through our program. So we're really impacting a lot of security. Even if you haven't ever heard of us, there's a pretty good chance that a bug that we reported, it ended up getting fixed on your system because it came through the ZDI. And it's really great for us to do, not only for our customers, because obviously that we're putting them first, but we're impacting everyone through these security patches. And we're driving threat research where we want to see it go too, because we can say, hey, we're going to pay a little bit more for virtualization bugs or for AI bugs or for whatever else. We can kind of guide researchers into doing the types of research that we know are going to be the most impactful for Trend and for Trend customers.
Yeah, and you've mentioned 20 plus years, and we're onwards to that. Is there one single kind of memory that you can share with us as we were starting Trend ZDI that's quite memorable for you?
We had someone report a bypass in the patch for the Stuxnet virus. And it was very interesting because, if you go back and remember Stuxnet, that's nation state 0-day level stuff. But he had found a way to get past the patch for it. And it was very interesting because it was very suspicious about who this individual actually was and whether or not it was a government bug burn, or there was a lot that went around with that. But it turned out to be a really interesting bug. We worked with Microsoft to get it fixed. And then we saw that the stuff come out later, NSA had leaked some stuff, and we found out that we actually, in doing that, disrupted active NSA operations. So whenever you take a bug and take it out of the wild and then find out that you actually did really disrupt a nation state active campaign, that's pretty impactful. And it was very interesting to see the whole life cycle of that.
Well, nothing else will be more impactful than that one, right? And I remember that was more in 2007-ish portion. But, thank you, Dustin. Thank you for joining me in our first episode. In the next episode, let's try to dive in a little bit and let's find out how does a single line of code discovered by researchers that we've been working with can turn really in a global defense for millions of users. So join us on our episode 2. Thanks, Dustin.